Hi, Kamla. It's so good to see you this afternoon and talk about our upcoming book, Life's Chrysalis, Stories of Transformation and the Power of Change. So I just want to find out from you, what made you decide that now you need to tell your story?
What made me decide? After joining the school and having to talk about my story, I realized that, by talking to so many women, I will actually be helping. At first, it was terrifying and it's in my head, in my mind. But the more I spoke to people in the group, the more I realized that I have to say something because I don't want no one else to have to go through this in secret. So telling my story really is about not having anyone else, no one else to go through this. That was the main reason. It is scary for me because it's so real, but being able to help people, women, that's one of my main reasons. Because what else? I mean, I already went through it. So if it can help someone, that's a gift for me.
You are addressing a story about abuse in relationships, in marriages, and you're also talking about a subject which is not discussed most of the time, narcissism. Can you kind of just give a hint of what you wish to hope to achieve? Because most women don't share their stories, and I'm sure there are men who go through that as well. Can you just give us a hint why you decided that this would be good to share?
Well, you gave it a name, and once you have a name, I thought, but calling people a name, as I said before, it's not a good thing. But once I heard the name and I really did some research, and you said something else about not speaking about it. This has been in my head. It's something that I was ashamed of, guilty of. I mean, it was a secret. But when I found out that it's more common once you get to talk about it, not myself only, but other women, and they know what it is something that we need to talk about, and it should not be a secret. Because if someone touched something, like touch a stove, and they don't know that it's hot, and they say it's hot, then other people know not to touch the stove. And it's the same message. If you know that someone is being spiteful or manipulative, or angry all the time, then you compare your stories. When you compare your stories and you see familiar things in other people's life, then it gets you to start thinking and talking about it. That's the only reason I came out of the fog, because I was in a fog for almost 29 years. And once I realized what it was, then I didn't feel like I had to hide it, because that was the reason why I didn't know about it earlier, because I hid it and other women hid it. So by hiding things in the dark, that's the number one thing you have to do. You have to speak about it.
That's really a brave thing to do, because you when you share stories like that, you have to think about your safety. You have to think about who in your family you might upset or offend, but you are looking at helping many more people by sharing your experiences, which is something that I admire you for. So could you tell us what the transformation you've had since you went through this journey of writing and sharing the most difficult aspects of your life?
Strangely enough, after it came out of my brain, I felt so much happier and relieved. And I mean, it was like the sun came out. It was so wonderful to get it out of my head and my heart, because you said something about hiding and keeping secret. When you talk about things, well, first of all, we're not supposed to talk about our marriage. We're not supposed to talk about our failures, our problems. You know, you're not strong if you are talking about it, if you're complaining. So, you know, although people in my family or in other people's family say, well, what is she talking about? We all have problems. You know, why is she complaining? But it's not about complaining or saying my problems in public. It's to bring the light into something that is wrong. That is, you know, you're not supposed to be upset and crying and depressed and suicidal in a relationship where you're supposed to love the person and be loved. That is not the way. So that old, you know, thinking in the back of women's head about, oh, they're not supposed to complain or they're not supposed to compare, it is wrong. And by speaking about it and joining and helping and letting each other know, well, that's not the way you're supposed to live. So, you know, some things is valued in the olden days, but things like that, you're not supposed to shut up and, you know, just suck it up and live. That is wrong. That's how I think anyway.
I know you have a group that you started that supports women who are going through it. Can you just tell us a little bit about that? Obviously not going into detail because it is a private group, but to just share how you encourage them and help them through their challenges.
Well, there's several women that once I start asking questions and saying, you know, comparing in the stories or just saying things that I heard or feel with each other, and you know, you have them popping up all over. Well, I went through that. I had the same experience. He did this, he did that, and yes, it's women only. So I'm sounding like it's men that does it, but as you said, women are also this type of manipulative, narcissist, psychopath, you know, whatever name. They're, you know, it's both on both sides. So it's not just men, but they all, you know, they tell me their story. They tell me what they went through. I have women saying, well, I finally got away. I finally got a divorce. You know, I've been suicidal. He's trying to kill me. It's stories that's unbelievable. And once they can talk about it, even if it's just to me, they're getting it out of their head and out their system. And it's like you could almost hear them smile because they actually get to talk about it and they share the stories. And it's like a bond when you can talk and let people know, or you know that you know, you're not crazy, you know, you're not losing your mind, that it's not just you. So sharing those stories and talking to these women, it has been really amazing. It's amazing because I don't feel, you know, like something is wrong with me myself, even though I know this. It's, you know, when you hear it and you talk to other women, you feel it and you know, like, okay, it's gonna be all right now.
That's amazing. So because it is just a women's group and it gives a safe environment for them to talk openly. I hope men do open their own groups where they support each other. So before we come to a close, can you just give us something that you leave a message to leave your audience with, or our audience with?
I think what I've learned in the past few months is the main thing is you have to speak up. You have to tell someone, you know, you journal, you write about it, because it is really unbelievable what we do for people that we love. It's unbelievable the lengths that we would go to and sacrifice. And when they're playing with our hearts and playing with our mind, especially the narcissist part, you really either write it down or tell someone, you know, even go to the police, because if you keep, you know, stuffing it under, you will just explode. So talking to someone is the first thing I would say. And just get help. Just get help, and you know that you're not crazy, because it's really a mind game that they play, not just your heart. They play with your brain, your mind, you know, everything. So that would be the first thing I would say to do. And once you do that, I think that would give you at least some kind of validation that, you know, you didn't imagine, you know, you didn't make it up, because, you know, and then, you know, I have proof. I mean, I have tapes, and I have proof, because you can't believe it yourself. Mm-hmm. So how is family or the authorities, how is anybody going to believe the games that is played? Mm-hmm. And it's very painful to, you know, love someone and have them do those things to you. So that would be it. Speak up, talk to someone, write it down, get proof, because once you really realize what they're doing, you don't want to have anything to do with them.
So how has actually writing with other people, like in an anthology, helped you?
It's just to speak about it, just to be in the company of people who's brave, that, you know, they it's like you have a group of people that support each other, mm-hmm. and talk about their experience, and it's very fulfilling. It's very, you know, it makes your heart happy to know that people will, you know, talk, and, you know, it's like a family that you feel like you're close to, mm-hmm. that understands you. So I'm enjoying the experience. It's a little bit, you know, I'm nervous about it, but it's exciting too. So I'm happy to be part of this. Thank you.
I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being brave, for choosing you, and for taking this courageous step to share your story. And I have a feeling that we'll be here again sometime talking about this topic and other topic that affect other people in the community, in the society, and in the world at large. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much. You too, Monica. Bye-bye.